The year was 1944, and once again we are discussing the Pacific Great Eastern Railway, which is now of course BC Rail, which is now actually leased to Canadian National, but whatever. Back then, it was Pacific Great Eastern. We've already discussed that, I won't go into it again. And the body of water in question today is Anderson Lake, which I'm sure someone will come in the comments and be like, actually, it's pronounced Anderson Lake, or something weird, because words that I'd say here never get pronounced the way I think they are, and yeah. But Anderson Lake, which is what I'm gonna go with, because that's what it looks like, to me, is a lake in British Columbia, once again. And it's a decent-sized lake, about 11 square miles, and weirdly, it is in fact in spitting distance of Seton Lake, which you may be weirded out by, because last time I called it Seton Lake, because that's what it looks like. But no, apparently, according to locals that have come to me, it's actually pronounced Seton, whatever, that one, from the last time we talked about a sunken train. Yes, it is so close that, in fact, 20,000 years ago, they were the same lake, Anderson and Seton, but a large landslide occurred that separated the two, and they've been separate bodies of water ever since. But that's only the start of the story that's weird. Two lakes that were originally one lake, both having a locomotive in them, is already odd enough. But the similarities between these two cases gets weirder. The interesting question was Pacific Great Eastern number 56, which was a 280, which you may recognize as being the exact same wheel layout as number 53 from the last video with Seton Lake. And they didn't just have the same wheel layout, apparently they were the same model of locomotive as well. Number 56 and number 53 were sister locomotives. So the same type of locomotive wound up in two lakes in the same province that were originally the same lake. And I bet you're wondering, how did number 56 wind up in Anderson Lake? Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you. Guess what? On August 12th, 1944, it hit a rock slide and went into the lake, and it has never been recovered, which you also may recognize as the exact same way that number 53 wound up in Seton Lake. So we have two locomotives that are the same model, sister locomotives, that wound up in two separate lakes right next to each other. The lakes, Anderson and Seton, were originally the same lake, and they went into the lakes in the exact same way. Now, they didn't go in the same year. This was 1944, so 56 actually went into Anderson before, because 53 went in 1950, but still, I'm not one to be superstitious about the stuff. You know, I don't believe in aliens, I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in any of that stuff. I go with what I know to be a fact, and yet, this whole thing just comes across as just a little bit spooky. You know, one might say coincidence. I say probably yes, but still really weird. So yes, number 56 remains in Anderson Lake, and I could not determine whether anyone had ever attempted to locate it at all. There's no information regarding anyone diving down, anyone using an ROV, or anything like that, though it is worth mentioning that Anderson Lake is not as deep as Seton Lake. Anderson Lake's max depth is only about 705 feet, which is still a great deal, but that's its max depth, and it's only half of the average depth of Seton, which is 1,500 feet. So it's likely that number 56 would be a lot easier to reach if someone were to try. Now the question is, can we get it out of there? What condition could it be in? Well, much like number 53, we don't have enough information to know what kind of condition the locomotive would be in. If we compare it to 694, again, hit a rock slide, it's probably not in great shape, it probably hit it pretty hard, and it's probably damaged, without question. But it won't be as deep as number 53 will be, so it's likely that it may be more intact, but then we're always back to the whole thing of getting it back up and the cost and all that other stuff that I've already gone into in previous episodes, so feel free to watch those for that more detailed explanation that I've stretched out way too much, because I'm not going into it again. We're not doing that this time. The point is that we haven't even found the thing. We don't know where she is. And until we do, we can't even talk about restoration or recovery or anything like that. We have to know where she's located. But it happened in 1944, so she's been down there nearly 80 years, so, you know, probably not in the greatest of condition, but you never know. Maybe she didn't hit the rock slide that hard. Maybe she's in great shape. Maybe she's pristine. Maybe she's still running down there. Maybe there's a tiny, tiny railroad underneath Anderson Lake for the Mer people to use. You don't know. We don't know anything anymore. What we know is that there were two sister locomotives that went into lakes that were originally the same lake, the same exact way, and it's really weird, and I can't get over that. It still bothers me. Does that bother you? What? Anyway, that's the story of engine number 56, as much as I'm able to tell. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.